Thanks for joining us today. We have Jeffrey Haas with us, and we're going to talk about his Kickstarter he has out. It's called let me know if I'm saying it wrong. Malik, Reigning Devil, 123. It's out on Kickstarter.
Yep.
All right. It's got what, about 18 days to go. Everything looks amazing on here,
Thank
and
you.
you're just about like just under halfway from filling your pledge goal, huh?
Yeah. Try not to sweat it too much yet, but yeah, we're it's getting close. It's 18 days.
Oh,
So
it looks
I
great so far. So I don't see a matter of fact, I was going through your different options for your backers, and I definitely found something that I'm gonna click on
ooh,
because
that's awesome. What are you thinking about?
and I am a sucker for dope variants, and I noticed you had some variants on here. Let me open that back up. Because I saw like a three, like all three, because you got issues one, two, and three.
Yep.
So I seen like an all cover bundle too that I got my eye
Hell yeah.
on.
They're some nice looking covers, aren't they?
They are beautiful, but before we get onto your project, introduce yourself, tell the community a little bit about yourself, and then we'll segue back into your project.
All right. It all started on a cold night in January. No, just no. All right. So I'm a generation comic book nerd. My father was the initial Haas comic book
Okay.
nerd, and I inherited the family nerdom for comic books sometime in the '80s. So about I'm old. So I've been reading comic books for 30, God, maybe 36 years now, 37 years now. Jesus Christ. But been buying them for about 37 years. My day job, I'm a special educator for junior high English.
Okay.
So I do that for my day. A little more about me. I'm a podcaster. I'm host Traversing the Stars podcast on YouTube
Hmm.
and some other sites. I'm a publicist for indie comic book creators for Kickstarters. And as you know, I'm a comic book writer.
Yeah.
Besides, I got some side gigs, I got some main gigs. I'm in and around the comic book world quite a bit.
Nice, nice, nice. That's what's up, man. And you also sent me a link, Cosby Media Productions. Is that your company?
No, that's one of my clients. My client, Braxton Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
He's the owner of Cosby Media Production, which publishes graphic novels, graphic
Mm.
novels, and comic books and novels.
Okay.
So he's going to hopefully be on your show sometime in the future, so you can talk to him as well.
Oh
But
yeah, let me know.
he's absolutely awesome, great guy. He's actually the nephew of Bill Cosby, which is interesting. He'll have stories of its own, I'm sure, for you.
Okay.
So that should be a fun one. But yeah, no, he's a fantastic dude. He was currently writing Yasuke, which is a
Mm-hmm.
novel. First issue is a novel, and then he does a second issue, which is regular comic books, comic book form. So those are really cool. I highly recommend you check him out. He also does a whole bunch of other stuff. In his series, so definitely Braxton Cosby is someone to check out. But like I said, I'm his publicist.
Oh yeah, because I was like I said, I clicked on the site and I was like, wow, there's a lot of great stuff on here. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I was looking at some of their top comments just on the front page. He's got so much
Mm.
workout, and a lot of it is just so eye-catching. It's
Yeah.
pretty
He,
amazing.
he's awesome. Like I say, he's a good guy. He'd be a great interview. Let's say he's promoting the Suke, which is
Hmm.
his newest work. So yeah, I look forward to seeing him on your show, and I'll be watching that
Oh
episode
yeah.
too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So far this is going to be episode 4. It's been great so far. We've gotten a lot of positive feedbacks, and I've
Very
gotten,
nice.
so many people have signed up. So hopefully, this could go somewhere, and we become a mainstay in the community. But let's get back to your Kickstarter, Malek, Reigning Devil. Let's talk a little bit about that. So this is issue 1 and 3. Are you relaunching it, or
All right,
you're just putting out all 3 issues for the first time?
all right. So basically, how this is working is, so the primary Kickstarter is funding issue three, which is
Yeah.
all pencil and ink. Pencil and ink is all done, but I need kickstarting the coloring, the
Hmm.
lettering, and the printing.
Okay.
Issues one and two are going to be reprinted
Hmm.
because I sold out of the other two issues, so
That's
they need to be
always good.
reprinted. And also, the cool thing is, I got my property back. I got it back. It was an indie publisher was publishing originally, but she is kind of out of the industry now due to other issues I'm not going to go
Yeah.
into. So the stories, the comic books are mine again, all completely mine to control. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
reissuing them under my own
Nice.
banner of probably Vector Comics, and I'm
Okay.
just super excited to have control over my property completely again.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. That's always the main thing when, when you get into the business side of things is trying to, if you're gonna go sign with a publisher or something, trying to keep as much control over your IP that you can
Yes.
before everything just gets out of hands,
Yes,
and
I made that mistake a long time ago. I had a graphic novel that you can find on Amazon called
hmm
Sanctus, which is an 88
hmm
page graphic novel. And the indie publisher who did it gave me an upfront fee of like $250, which was a pittance compared to what it cost to make.
Oh yeah.
But I signed a contract, my first contract, and I was so excited about the concept of signing a contract, I didn't read the contract.
mm
So apparently they own the title in perpetuity now. That means I'll
mm
never get the damn thing back unless I pay them. I think it was like $1,000, some shit to get my property back.
And they gave you 250.
Yeah, give me 250 on an 88 page graphic novel that cost me probably like 12 to $13,000 to make, maybe
Yeah.
$14,000 to make. So I learned mistake early, which is read your
Mhm.
contract, have someone
Read
other than
them.
you read the contract. If it
Oh
says in
yeah.
perpetuity or any weird language like that, get out.
hmm Yeah. Contracts. Read them contracts.
Yes.
Even if it's 1 page long, read it. If you have questions, Google it, something.
Yes.
These companies they're not, they don't always have your best interest at heart. It's just a business,
It's
it,
100% true. And
100% true.
if you have the means to hire a lawyer to read a contract for you for at least, I mean, for whatever cost that would make for us to read it, it may be
Yeah.
worth it. If
hmm
I made to spend, I don't know what a lawyer costs an hour because I'm too poor to afford a lawyer, but let's say it costs $250 to afford the lawyer. So my 250, let's say, is one right to the lawyer fee. Let's say,
Yeah.
that happened. I would have the language better. I would have my comic book back in my own pocket. I guarantee I would have made that money back on my own
hmm
second book.
Absolutely.
So, buy a lawyer is probably worth it to check the contract.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because also, you could always come back to the negotiating table and hold on, nope,
Yep.
I'm clear on the terms and this ain't gonna work. If you want it, we've got to make this a little better. If not, I'll keep shopping. Plain and
Right.
simple. Plain and
And
simple.
the other advice I would always give is if the publisher isn't, let's say, 3 to 5% of the market, the really small indies are like 1% of the market, the really small
hmm
ones,
hmm
you're really better off just self-publishing at that point. Kickstart
Oh
it,
yeah.
self-publish it. Any
hmm
publisher that's that small is probably not going to get you the business you think you're going to get anyway.
hmm
They don't have the reputation or the reach to really help you. Just
hmm
do your own book at that point. You know what
Exactly.
I'm
You
saying?
you may even make more of a profit doing it yourself because you're pretty much, aside from recouping the production costs, everything else goes right
Exactly.
back to you. So the the $1,000 that they would have gotten could go right to you. So oh
Exactly.
yeah. So tell me more about Malek. Now is this going to be like are you is it going to be a couple of issues long? Are you
So
world building? What are we doing with
so
that
Malik
story?
is going to be 6 issues total.
Mm-hmm.
So the first three are going to be complete one way or another. And then I'm going to do issues 4, 5, and 6, and I'm going to complete the series. But it's 6 issues total. So I do have a wrap up
Mm-hmm.
that soon. So this is one of those stories I'm going to be like, when I'm 90 years old, I'll be like, you're now need to buy issue 20, 30 or my Malik comic. No, it's three. It's going to be 6 issues total. I'm booting three. There's three tie-in comic books, four tie-in comic books as well that intersect with the storyline. That
Okay.
three of them already been made, one left to make, but they're only 8 pages long, so they're pretty easy to manufacture those. All by the
Okay.
same artist, Juan Amaran. He's doing all the art for every single thing that has Malik on
Mm-hmm.
it, so there's a consistency of look,
Yeah.
of artwork. Even though his artwork is getting so much better with the later issues, you still can see like the continuity of the
Mm-hmm.
art
Oh,
throughout.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
when I'm done, I'll do a trade paperback, or maybe I'll do an absolute volume of Malik, and you
Yeah.
can feel the great art and how you progressed over time. But
hmm
like I said, it's a really good series. It follows the character of Malik, who's a basically was tricked by or betrayed by God, tricked by God, however you want to phrase it, to go to hell and kill the devil. The
Mm,
thing with going to hell is that once an angel steps foot outside heaven, steps foot on the actual ground of hell, you're no
hmm
longer welcome back in heaven. You're soiled forever. That's
Yeah.
actually theology right there. Also, this is my own though. If you kill the devil, you become the devil. So now he's trapped in hell for eternity. And Malik
Mm.
is asking himself, what did I do to deserve this? Is following the demand of my God or my creator worth being damned for eternity? And he's going to
Yeah.
decide, no, not only should I not be damned, I should not be punished, but I am pissed about this and I'm going to get my revenge. And he's going to work his way to go into heaven and kick some ass in heaven, some angel ass.
Oh yeah, no, this is why I want to get all three so I could kind of catch up because this sounds like something that's right up my alley. I like stories like that,
Yeah,
especially, supernatural. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
it is. I've been kind of selling it as the elevator pitch is John Wick meets Spawn meets Dante's Inferno.
Oh wow. That's a that's a combination in its own.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that definitely sounds like a crazy concept and I can't wait to dig into that. So, when you're creating this like when you sat down and you started to play with the idea in my head, did you see, just the run we just discussed, or maybe even becoming something bigger, tie-ins later on, some other projects that may kind of like link in down the future, anything like that?
I mean, there's always ideas. I mean, I think every writer plays with the idea of what if,
Yeah.
like, what if this becomes so big it keeps rolling.
Yeah.
I will say issue six naturally does close the storyline, though there's some
Mm-hmm.
intertwining ideas that can come through it. But for now, once you see how issue six ends things,
Mm-hmm.
it really does kind of put a capper on the story. So
Mm-hmm.
unless one of the other ideas really kind of hit me, which I mean, there's some dancing around, but there's none that I think are like, oh my God, I definitely got to continue it after six. Um, the sixth issue really, like I said, it's a hell of an ending. It
Mm-hmm.
really puts a capper on the character, on the universe. I think you'll see things that you don't ever really see in a comic book and how it ends. It's at best bittersweet.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So my next question for you, like, when you're creating, because I like to dig into the mind of creators.
Mm.
Like to me, that's one of the most fascinating thing about creating a project, regardless of the medium that it's in. I just love the creative process. Like when you're creating your stories, do you outline the full story, or like you kind of just take it from where you're starting to come up with your idea and just leave room for something else later on?
Well, I always want to know my start. I want to know my finish.
Hmm.
For Malik was very specific because there is a format to it, which is two issues in hell,
Hmm.
one in purgatory, two in heaven, and then the epilogue.
Yeah.
And then when I get to each issue, I plot it out page by page, panel by panel, and just kind of like in a rough outline, page one, panel two, panel three, panel four, or whatever. And then I go back when it's all done and add the dialogue and the captions and all that. Usually I do
Hmm.
outline, dialogue, caption, and then it's all set. So I do have like an outline where I kind of slowly hone in deeper and deeper, focus more and more and more onto the actual story, going from
Hmm.
like I said, the brief outline to the details of the caption, which I always put in last. So I kind of feel like captions are like the dot connectors, where anything that
Yeah.
needs a little more insight into the character, what's happening there, or into the event, the captions are good to pop in. But I try to let
Hmm.
the story and the dialogue really move it forward.
Yeah, no, that's out. That yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like I'll just have this concept and I'll just start building from there and then put it down on paper and then I tinker with it before I start moving on to the production phase. Like,
Mm.
have you ever had to like completely scrape a story because you're just like, you know what? It started off like a good idea, but it kind of went left field, and let me kind of
I have
bring
some
it back.
I have some false starts in my world. There was I'm trying to think of, there's been a few ideas that I have in concept where I
Hmm.
wrote this nice outline and then I started thinking about it. The more I thought about it, the more it started spiraling. I was
Hmm.
like, okay,
Hmm.
it's not ready to tell. I mean, okay, so here's a good one. There's a comic I always wanted to write called Metallics.
Hmm.
All right, I created the character in maybe ninth grade, maybe eighth grade, but it's a long time done.
Yeah.
And I wrote this outline for the character. In fact, I wrote the first issue. It was a four-issue miniseries about the first issue. This is going back when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And going years later, I decided to go back and look at it.
Yeah.
And I started going through the comic book a little bit. And this in the store because I was thinking, you know what, maybe I can maybe make this thing work. And the more
Mm-hmm.
I looked, I was thinking the holes started popping up that were too big to ignore. And I was like, crap. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to put it aside and go, you know what, until I figure out how to tie these holes together. Because when you're in high school, everything kind of makes sense. You kind of
Yeah.
because you don't know what you're doing, so it all seems like you know what you're doing. But when you look at it from the point of view of a 45-year-old man who's been in the industry for a while, who's been reading comic books for 30 years, who studies classic literature in school,
Mm-hmm.
you can see where the holes don't work anymore.
Yeah.
And so now it's kind of on the side burner as I kind of try to figure out how to knit it back together again and make it make
Mm-hmm.
more sense as an adult.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean those happen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially like, I feel like, like you just said, you do this professionally with school and everything like that. And you could that, kind of gives like the one up compared to like me. I don't English school wasn't my big thing. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I school wasn't really my thing, so I just know how to do, so I do. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But you kind of have more of an outline, like this is what it's supposed to be like, and then I think that's a cool thing to have in your toolkit. Definitely. You have
Well,
that that outline.
yeah. I mean, it's basically just a type of training because um,
Hmm.
having my degrees in English now, they teach you how to look at a piece of writing
Hmm.
differently.
Yeah.
So I try to, I mean, as vain as it may sound, I try to look at Shakespeare and
Hmm.
look at my comic book the same way, like how I approach the comic book. Like
Yeah.
if I would approach, let's say, a Shakespearean play, what my character doing, how does it make sense? Is everything woven together in a way that is necessary and is showing the complexity of my character and the world I'm building? Does it all fit? And you
Hmm.
kind of have to analyze it the same way. And when you do start noticing the holes, right?
Yeah.
Because there's always going
Hmm.
to be a hole. No matter how good of a story you have, there's always going to be a hole that you got to sit back and go, okay, why doesn't this make perfect sense? Let's go
Yeah.
back and weave it back together again.
Okay. All right. Now, is this your first Kickstarter launching it on your own, or have you done other Kickstarters before?
No, I've watched a few. I've done. This is the second Malik Kickstarter that I've done. The
Hmm.
first issue two was kickstarted. I've done two End of All Terminus comic books, which is a sci-fi story. So they've been done as well, and they've been
Okay.
successful.
Nice.
So issue three of End of All Terminus is probably looking at maybe a May launch. Probably is my guess now. Probably May. Nightmare Patrol will be kickstarted, which is my first completed miniseries, which was
Hmm.
written with my father. And we're going to be completing that story. It's coming up soon as well. So there's a lot of balls in the air
Hmm.
that I have right now, and I'm just trying to keep everything, one at a time. And tell my audience, have faith. Malik 3 might be what I'm pushing right now, but
Yeah.
Terminus 3 isn't like not coming because it's already in the works.
Yeah.
Nightmare Patrol, if you those people have been waiting for many years for the issue 5, it's coming. Be patient. It's coming this year, and we're gonna knock out all the entire series probably within a year or two. So there's a lot on my plate, and there's a lot of hopefully on my readers' plate. Just have faith. Find me when it's time, and you're gonna hook you with some good books, hopefully.
No, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And starting to self-publish and go the independent route, because like you said, you signed to a publisher that didn't work out. Building your audience, your own organically, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, whatever platform they use, and how has it been difficult trying to get that fan base set where every Kickstarter you've launched, you've been able to, you know, to successfully reach your goal.
I will say it's gotten harder with as time has gone on.
Mm-hmm.
When I originally was promoting my clients and myself early on, this is going back maybe 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Social media felt a little more welcoming. Not
Yeah.
welcoming as far as there weren't jerks online who are saying nasty shit, but welcoming as far as algorithmically,
Yeah.
more welcoming. The platforms a little more welcoming to this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, that's been more fragmented. Social media is more fragmented.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I would say with the fall of Twitter, that made a big change in promoting as well. Because Twitter was a good avenue for maybe 20 to 30% of my audience would come from Twitter. Now that's gone because X is not as successful, and half and most of us moved on to Blue Sky, and Blue Sky
Yeah.
is new, but it's not welcoming really to a lot of discourse. So that one's
Okay.
a little rough. Facebook, the algorithm on Facebook is killing posting for indies comics. Anything with a link, they're definitely pushing hard on to stifle the
Yeah.
ability of it. They're also limiting the amount of times you can post, which kind of sucks when you're
Mm-hmm.
posting to across social media for your indie book, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Social media landscape is concerning and difficult now to navigate, and it's definitely more. You got to be more focused on certain areas versus trying to do like a wide scope of
Yeah.
all. So it's tough. It's definitely a tough medium to try to build your following on now.
Oh, yeah, because I've noticed, I've mentioned this before, like I kind of stepped away from Facebook for a
Yeah.
couple of years, focused on mental health, finishing my education to get my degrees. And I noticed when I came back, it was different,
Yeah.
being able to promote my work I feel like it was easier pre-COVID than it is now.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I got a lot more attention back in 2017, 2018, 2019, a lot more engagement
Yep.
than I do now. I mean, I'm getting some, engagement, especially now with the podcast and just trying to, you know, get back into the community. I feel like it's just a lot of, like you said, the algorithm and all that stuff is just, it's so different. It's
It's
just a
pretty
whole
rough.
different thing.
The other thing that I mean, the easy way, and a lot of people are doing this, and I kind of resent it, but it is what it is doing like the hate posting that gets all the
Hmm.
people all built up, like angry about whatever it is you're angry about. Obviously something controversial, and you get
Hmm.
people posting on your thing, and that I mean it's nice to get those interactions, because you build up your apparent, your visibility that way. But I
Yeah.
kind of resent it to some level too. Is like, is that really all we can do is try to say something controversial and try to get people to respond to us now? I mean, that
Hmm.
seems cheap, in my
Yeah, I
opinion.
think most people want to just argue online
Yeah,
and just give their opinions on something when it's just like it doesn't have to always be negativity.
right.
That's why I got off Facebook. I felt like Facebook for a while was so it was just a lot,
Yeah,
too much, and I don't know. I just for the sake of me completely losing my shit, I had to get off Facebook,
yeah,
and mental health, man, it's a real thing, man. If you're not taking care of yourself and especially trying to, you know, take on something like, creating projects and trying to make something for yourself outside of outside of life, outside of your 9 to 5 could be very, it could be a lot. It could be a lot on on your mind, and it could just burn you the hell out completely,
yeah. I
you
mean,
know?
like I said, I mean that is like when it's rough. I mean, my job on this my every side gig I had is reliant on social media, so I'm on there a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean it's hard to distance yourself and be part of it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like I said, it's you got to learn the trick right now is learning how to properly navigate the landscape.
Yeah.
Not just physically, I mean, as far as posting, but also as you said, mentally, and trying to wade through the sewer without stinking from it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Agreed. Now I kind of want to segue into the mental health thing with creators and, balancing life because, we all got jobs, we all
Yeah,
got everything else. We got real life to handle before we can get into, creating our comics or movies or music, whatever it is.
yeah.
Like, as a creator, have you ever experienced like creative burnout where you're just like, I can't, nothing's coming out right. I'm just done with this for right now.
Um, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
I am inherently someone who has severe anxiety on
Mm-hmm.
things and other things as well. So I could argue I regularly ride the roller coaster of
Mm-hmm.
ups and downs. However, as taken a cue from my favorite combo character, Green Lantern, and the idea of willpower, I have become I'm very good at willing my way through things.
Yeah.
So even so usually how it works, my life, I get down on something hard, either the podcast or my writing
Mm-hmm.
or my publicist work or whatever. I get down on something really hard. I go into the bedroom, talk to my wife. She gives
Mm-hmm.
me like a 5 minute pet talk. I go back to the computer, get back to work, and push it
Mm-hmm.
again. So I mean, so it's kind of like it's okay to hit those walls sometimes, and we all
Yeah, I feel
do.
like you need to sometimes,
Right,
you
and
know?
it's okay. And I say, like I said, I'll fill down the Kickstarter I have. I'll fill up and down from time to time. But
Mm-hmm.
usually, at least for me, I have my wife. I go to my wife, and I'll kind of like whine to her about whatever's bothering me. Like, no one's watching my podcast anymore. I have not had a new subscriber in like 3 days. My wife will be like, all right, get better. You know how this goes. Blah
Yeah.
blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. And then I, walk back to the computer, and then immediately, like the thing is, and this is the key, I think the moment you get that little spark back, go right back to doing what it was that was freaking you out, wherever was
Mm-hmm.
depressing you, and immediately start on it again.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get back on the horse immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just think about it like exercises, right?
Yeah.
Because back in the day, I used to do these exercises. I would, lift weights, do push-ups and sit-ups, stuff like that. And I realized when you're having a rough time of it, right? And then the next day you're like, man, I'm not going to do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. In fact, I'll do more tomorrow to make up for what I didn't do today. And then
Mm-hmm.
that day comes, you're like, well, not today. Tomorrow I'll do it. Tomorrow I'll do way more than I was going to do, but I'm definitely doing today. And then you
Mm-hmm.
realize days and weeks go by, then you just stop doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the trick of anything you're into, like comic books or podcasting or writing. Don't let it get to that point where you stop too many for any length of time. Get back on
Yeah.
the horse as soon as possible. Get back into your rhythm as soon as possible. Like I said, but if you got to sit down for a while and collect yourself, do that. But immediately get back on the horse when you recover and get back to work because the longer you walk away from it, it becomes really hard to come back.
Oh yeah, especially in this climate where when it comes to social media, like you have to be we consume so much while we're scrolling and while we're doom
Yeah,
scrolling for hours at a time every day. If you're not being consistent, even if you take a week off, 2 weeks off, that could hurt your growth a little bit because we tend to forget quick. We're not, I feel like now we don't hold information in as long as we used to back in the day. I feel like,
yeah,
I'll forget a post that I saw earlier that I really liked, like 6 hours later because we forgot all about it.
yeah,
I feel like if you do take some time off, because we all need a little break, even if it's a
yeah,
week. Try not to make it too long because the world will forget about you in 2 weeks.
yeah.
It's all about a fad too. Like, things are hot one day, millions of views. 2 weeks later, like that was. It seems like that was like 5 years ago. You
Well,
know.
I will say one thing I've noticed, especially on TikTok, and this might be, I don't know if people know this or don't know this, but I've started to notice a pattern because I'm pretty good at pattern recognition.
Mm-hmm.
With TikTok, if you go away from TikTok for a certain amount of time, when you come back, it hypes you up pretty fast, and you suddenly get
Mm-hmm.
noticed you get more views you've ever seen before,
Mm-hmm.
as if it's trying to coerce you to stay on the platform. And when you
Mm-hmm.
start posting that every day again, you start falling off again, and it
Mm-hmm.
stops paying attention to you. So I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if it's actually beneficial at TikTok to walk away for a little, like a week or so, get it TikTok all like, oh, you're back. Let's promote you again. You're back. Well, let's keep you in. Let's keep that addiction
Yeah.
rolling.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice the views go up for a while. For usually, I notice when you go back, it goes up for like a week or two. You'll notice a spike, and then
Mm-hmm.
it starts falling off you again, and then it
Yeah.
stops paying attention to you, and then you got to find the
Mm-hmm.
spike again. But I wonder if that is a thing where it actually helps you to walk away from TikTok from time to time.
Maybe because they probably do that on purpose, because now, oh man, it's been about a month and now, I'm getting an extra 300 or 400 views. Yeah, let me
Yeah,
keep going. And now you're putting out all this new content, and then, like you said, a couple weeks later, it starts to dip, and I feel like the dip is what gets discouraging.
yeah.
Especially when you're used to a couple hundred views a day, now you're down to like 10, 15, 30.
You know, it's got to be like a drug addiction where they reel you in. It's like
Oh, absolutely.
here's a few for free. Here's a few whatever
Yeah.
drug it is. Here's it for free. We got you. You got this. Feels good, doesn't it? And then
Oh
as it
yeah.
gets you reeled in, it's like, okay, dude. Now you're paying for it. Then
Oh
you fall
yeah,
off.
social media is my opinion. I think it is the most powerful drug that there is out there. Try detaching for 24 hours completely. Oh my God. That's gotta be like I did it for 10 days, kind of had to, locked up in a hospital for a little
Yeah.
bit. I didn't have access to my phone or social. I had no access to the outside world. First 72 hours, I'm ready to bang my head on the wall. Like, what's happening in the world? I don't know what's happening. Like, I need to see something. I don't know what's happening. And until, after a few days, it's just like, oh my God, it's such a relief. Like, I could finally, I was thinking clearer. Like, things just seem so much easier
Mm.
having detached from all forms of social media, man. It's addicting. It
Oh,
is
I
addicting.
I don't disagree. Let's have a podcast. Traversing the Stars podcast. Anyone wants to check it out. And when I put out some new content, oh
Hmm.
man, I'm checking my phone. So views with the views. I want to see the views, likes, views.
Yeah.
Oh, someone made a comment. Perfect. My wife will be like, "Put the damn phone away. We're watching a
Yeah.
movie." It's like I put out some new content. I gotta see what's
Oh
happening.
yeah. Yep. Yep. That is every time I make a post, I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm grabbing my phone like anybody, how many views? And I'm like, all right, let me go back to like I'll wake up out of REM sleep just to see if I got like one view.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's sickening. It's sickening. And that's just the way the world is now. Like that's just is
Well,
how it is.
I mean, especially us. I mean, if you're in the comic book field, podcasting field, publicist field, you are a media whore on some level. You
Yeah.
are all over because your life is. I mean, your gauge for success is online.
Yeah.
Your views, your backing, your
Mm-hmm.
post interaction. That is your life at that point. So
Mm-hmm.
you are basically living in your phone.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's everything. If I had lost my phone, I would freak out worse than if I lost my keys to my house. Saying? Let's make you in the house and be like, break a window, go inside, lose your
Hmm.
phone. I'll be like, so, fuck, where is my
Yeah.
phone?
Oh yeah. I used to tell my kids, when we would go somewhere, Dad, don't forget your phone. I would tell them, listen, I'll forget y'all before I can forget my phone. Like, I'll forget y'all behind before I leave my phone behind. Get out of here. Like, yeah, because especially as a creator or publicist or whatever you're doing, we have to make sure whatever we're posting is working. Because
Yeah,
if it's not working, then we gotta change course and do what is gonna work. So we do gotta kind of have to constantly check the status of our posting, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, and see even if it's one comment or one like or one follow, like it. It's a good and a bad, It's good
yeah.
because it's letting us know what we're doing works or not, but then it's also like because while we're there, then we start to scrolling, and then we start getting lost in the abyss of just doom scrolling.
I'm telling you, I've posted, God, probably 600, 700 videos for interviews that I do, and
Hmm.
I could almost on every single one tell you the view count on each one. You'd
Hmm.
be like, "What's your view count on this one?" I'd be like, "Oh, that was up to this number right now."
Yeah.
So it's like there's other things in my brain that could be using that space for more important things.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, "Oh, that was up to 183 views. Oh, it got viewed
Hmm.
again. Okay, so it's 184 now." It's
Hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
like I know the view duration. You just kind of know these things, and it's like, man, it's not healthy. I mean, it's from a business standpoint, it's probably good, but it's not
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely not. It's the it's farthest from the, especially when you start to beat yourself up when you start to beat yourself up, you know, oh, the post it's only been up 6, 7 hours and I didn't get not one like or view or follow or subscriber. And it's like, do you not like me? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I'm sorry, like me, like what else can I do? How can it make me better?
Right.
That's when you start to beat yourself up on the head. Like that's when you really start to sit there. And I feel like that's where discouragement comes in. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to navigate because like I said, that's when you start to like, oh, what am I doing? Am I wasting my time? Is this worth it? You know, it. Because like it's just an expensive thing to put together.
Yeah,
It's not cheap. It's not free. I don't care if you could write, draw, you could do everything yourself. It's still expensive. Printing and promoting all that.
yeah,
Even just paying with time. It's time consuming on top of that. Some people put out 1 to 2 issues a year because that's the only time that
yeah,
they have carved out where they could work on their project because like I said, life we got to deal with. We got wife, kids, work,
right.
mortgages, bills, appointments, school. Like there's so much that if we're lucky to get an hour a day, we take advantage of that hour. And which brings me to my next question. As a teacher, how does your job allow you the time to give you extra time where you can sit down and write and work on your project, and like does it
Um,
give you that balance that you need to make sure you're able to work and get things done the way you want to, or at least
no,
the way you need to?
unfortunately, the bane of teaching is that teaching never stops.
Mm-hmm.
You teach during the day. Our phones are supposed to be open to our students all night long, just about almost till I think it's like 9 o'clock at night. So they can
Mm-hmm.
text you and be like, "Hey, I have a question about something." You're supposed to help them out, and you're supposed to, and you're grading papers at home because you don't have time during the day.
Yeah.
You're lesson planning at the end of the night because you don't. And I'm podcasting, and I'm prepping for the next
Mm-hmm.
interview, and I'm doing my publicist work, and I'm pushing my Kickstarter, and I'm making sure my comic book is, whatever. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot
Oh
in a
yeah.
day. I get through on being very good now at organizing myself mentally
Mm-hmm.
and viewing it things in terms of small segments of time. This is 20 minutes. This will get done in 30 minutes. So, and then
Yeah.
budgeting that time where if I know I have an opening now, I'm going to get something done 2 days from now. So it's like that, make sure that extra time because there's other things. I've become very good at organizing and budgeting my time.
Mm-hmm.
So my life doesn't ever get too crazy. Sometimes it does get out of control, and that's when I got to rely on my wife to be like, do what you got to do. I get you're not going to come, come to bed so late tonight, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of budgeting, and like I said, you got to be very good at knowing how to organize yourself, and you can't stall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time in my day. Come home, I eat. I don't have time in my day to sit and go, yeah, I'll get started in a few minutes. No, now you're getting started because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to screw around anymore. That kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. Like yeah, like like you said, like you gotta budget your time correctly, even if you got 20 minutes for that day set for whatever you're gonna do, get it done, try to stick to it. Because once the procrastinating starts, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, you know what? I'll do double the work the next, it becomes nothing. And next
Yeah,
now, 2 weeks gone by, you haven't written a sentence, did a post, nothing. Like you do, managing your time is very important. It's very important. Now, as far as, you're going back to how you market your book, you do Kickstarter, but have you done any direct to consumer marketing, like, a website or, even conventions? Have you done any cons?
no, yeah, I've done conventions in my time. There's some the convention circuit, especially where I'm from, which is Rhode
Hmm.
Island, isn't
Okay.
necessarily great. There's
Hmm.
there's, there's a happy middle, which is where you got to find yourself. If a convention is too small, they tend not to be worth your time. If it's too big, they're
Hmm.
not worth the money. You got to find that middle ground convention. Like around where I live, one of my favorite conventions is Plastic City Comic Con.
Okay.
That's run by Keith Gleason in Massachusetts. I can't remember where Massachusetts anymore. That's a perfect middle ground um, convention where the table's cheap enough, maybe $75. It's good for a
Okay.
day, and it's indie focused. So the only people coming to your convention are people who want to buy indie books,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
well advertised enough that people do come. I've
Hmm.
been to conventions where I've sat for 6 hours and not seen someone come towards the table.
Hmm.
I've been at the big conventions where I've seen people come to the table, but if you sell 30 books, 40 books, the table was $450. 20, 40 books doesn't get you there. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
No.
Like you need,
Hmm.
let's see, 40 times a $5 book, maybe or an $8 book. sell 90 books in 3 days.
Hmm.
I mean, they're it's sort of point where the big so if you sell 90 books, you made your table, but you didn't pay for the art and everything that it took you to make the damn book.
Yeah.
So you got to find that middle ground where the table and is at a good point where it's affordable and the amount of people coming to your convention is reasonable enough to make your table back plus make your fees that you need
Oh
to
yeah,
pay for the
absolutely.
book.
Especially like, you mentioned the bigger conventions, you also have to compete with all the big attractions, like, if you're trying to get at like a Boston Fan Expo or New York City Comic Con, you got to deal with all the big major players that everyone is going to go see on top of trying to pay for that. Well, I'm pretty sure is a costly table, and you got to pay to get there. You got to eat. You got, I don't know if it's far. You got a hotel cost. Like it starts to add up, and like you said, even if you're there for a weekend and sell like 30, 40 books. You're lucky you could even with that even cover just the table costs, so it does, me, I've done a couple cons. I feel like I've kind of been on a weird path when I when I started this journey because I kind of started up here a little
Yeah.
bit because of the connections that I had, and I was able to sit in on already paid for tables that I didn't have to really put out, and got a huge fan base because of the people I was with. You know what I'm saying? So now coming back in and really just trying to do it over from scratch, from the ground up, I looked into some conventions, and I'm really trying to just stick to the, I'm not gonna say lower end conventions, but that middle ground where,
Right.
what, it's maybe $100 for the day for the table, which is cool, and it's focused on indies because everyone coming there, they're not looking for the Marvels, the DCs, or the big, the pizzazz of these big conventions. They're focusing on finding some great books from some great, artists or writers, and just because they love the indie scene, and that's the market that's coming there, and you may meet, you may recoup what you paid for the table and then some, and have a pretty good day, and be able to take that money and invest it in back into your next project, or put it back into what you're still trying to pay for.
Yeah, I know. Just noticed you're a fellow Northeasterner.
Oh
From the
yeah, I'm from
Northeast, right?
Brooklyn.
I'm
I'm
telling
from
you,
Brooklyn, New York.
I'm Rhode Island. I'm from out of Rhode Island. So my the big one I go to is Trifficon. I love Trifficon.
Hmm.
In Connecticut, that's a fantastic one. But yeah, I would argue that you gotta be careful which conventions you go to for us from a size standpoint. You know, and I would say like the bigger conventions too, as you said, they're not indie focused. Even the
Yeah.
indie, when I go to a convention like Fan Expo Boston or Rhode Island Comic Con, I will search out one indie person in
Yeah.
that group, someone in the indie artist alley, and just buy a book from someone to support the industry, right? The indie
Hmm.
comic world. But
Hmm.
most don't do that.
Yeah.
And you're going to find that it's harder to get that traction in the big ones. You got to find
Hmm.
that middle shove. Small ones are too small. You might not even get a whiff
Yeah.
in a 7 or 8 hour day. Middle ones are
Hmm.
the ones you got to find. They're harder to find, but those are the key.
Yeah, because I feel like even like the lower end ones, I feel like you got people showing up. I mean, I could be wrong. This is my opinion, and this is from like my experience. I feel like you've got people looking to buy good books for cheaper because
Yeah,
they're at a smaller con, and they're like, we could probably find some gems for like dirt cheap. And I feel like those are the kind of those are the kind of consumers that would go to one of the super smaller cons, trying to find good deals on popular books, or trying to fill their collection with things that they missed out on when they came out, and on New Comic Book Day. That's why I like you said, kind of finding that, Three Bears kind of deal, the one that's
yeah,
just right, that middle ground where it's not expensive, and you've got, the people that are in attendance are there specifically for what you and everyone else there is putting out, and
yeah,
that's to me, that's the problem with the even the lower end ones, and because I've been to low, and at the local firehouse, and didn't sell like 5 books, and it doesn't say anything bad about me. It's just the
yeah.
people that were there
Uh,
kind of weren't. They weren't
Yeah,
there for that, you
I
know?
made the mistake of going to a show that was called a card show and comics. If it says anything and comics, don't do it. I
Yeah, because
literally
they
sat
focusing
there.
on the main, the
Yeah,
cards. Hmm.
I sat there for I think 7 hours at one convention that was cards and comics. It was mostly Pokemon cards being sold around me.
Yeah,
I
that's
think I
what's
had three
selling
people
right
at my
now.
table in 7 hours. I was like, oh my god, this was the most brutal. It was only like $50. I was like, $50, it's gotta be worth it. Totally not worth it.
Oh yeah, no, especially, like it's not always about the money too. You're spending 7 hours sitting there essentially doing nothing when you could have been doing other things that you needed to get
Yeah,
done, working on your project or, family time or something other than just sitting down on this, I'm pretty sure, uncomfortable metal chair, for 7 hours. And you really can't go nowhere if you're alone because what if someone comes up to your table and you're not there? Did I miss a set? It's a shitty
I've
situation to be
I've had
in.
people try stealing comics off my table. So it's a
That's
thing.
crazy.
Yeah, I was at a
That's
convention.
horrible.
Yeah, I had a convention. This one lady, she goes up to her to my table, right? She grabs 3 or 4 books. I'm thinking to myself, that's a nice sale. 4 bucks, I'll take the sale. Then she
Yeah.
starts walking away from the table with the books in her hand. I
Like,
was like, no, no,
sorry.
no, 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 no. She's like, I thought
This
they were
ain't
free.
free.
No, she's like, I thought they
No.
were free. I was like, you did not. Are you kidding me? There's literally prices on the books.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah,
Like, come on, no, there's not a table here and I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of tables where people are just picking up and walk away. This isn't one of those things. This is like the car show where you get all these free, merch from all these vendors. This is not, you're at the
right,
wrong place. Like I don't mind giving away free things here and there. Of course, I feel like, especially if you don't buy nothing and you're looking around, I'll give you something small for free, like a sticker or something,
yeah,
just to, you know, get that engagement, but walking away with 4 books, that's good money right there.
right,
That's insane. I just don't understand the nerve of some people. Like they know, come on, you know this is not free.
right.
Nothing in here is free. It's just ridiculous. I don't know how people how people think like that. Now, what I do want to ask you is, you know, as far like, because this is as I've mentioned in every episode, like I'm trying to help the new independent creators or those already in the field. Like, what kind of advice do you have for someone just looking for looking to build a foundation to start their journey into this roller coaster of a field that is creating?
Um, Not anything that's going to sound overtly encouraging,
It
but
doesn't
I'll
even have
say,
to sound encouraging, just
well,
the raw truth
wait,
behind
the,
behind this.
so basically what I would say is this. If you're going to try to get into the comic book industry, okay, keep your ambitions small at first.
Hmm.
I would recommend before you do anything, develop some sort of social media following. Get that rolling first. Go to conventions, start meeting some artist alley people, and just start making some friends who may be able to help you make connections. That might take a year or two just of building your
Yeah.
name. If you're gonna when you publish your first comic book, self-publish that first comic book. Use Kickstarter, self-publish. If you
Hmm.
Kickstarter fails, publish it yourself. Just have something
Yeah.
you've done by yourself. Do not get sucked into an indie publisher who's not good, who's going to take more money from you than you're going to make on your own.
Absolutely.
And then build slowly. Keep your
Hmm.
ambition slow. Like if the first thing out of your mind is that I'm going to create a intertwining universe of ongoing series and they're going to be 40, 50, 60, 70 issues long, blah blah blah, you're probably a little too ambitious. Start with, I have a miniseries idea. It's going to be 2 to 4 issues long.
Hmm.
I'm going to either Kickstarter it, and if it fails in Kickstarter, I'm going to back these 4 issues myself and
Yeah.
make sure this happens. Then you're on the right track, and then you can start building and sell that at your convention, start doing the small conventions, start getting some attention.
Hmm.
But I would say keep your ambitions reasonable until the ambition reaches the reality of of your situation, which is, let's say you've now published 7 or 8 books. You now have a real following. The Kickstarter is self-generating, like it starts getting your backers start coming back a lot, stuff like that. Yeah, then maybe you can think about your larger stories, but
Hmm.
keep your ambition reasonable.
Yeah, 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 definitely, absolutely. And you can't get discouraged because, you know, this you could get very discouraged very easily. That's one thing I would have to say because even me, I've gotten very discouraged and to the point where I just wanted to stop. But the drive, I don't do this for I don't do this for you. I do this for me. That's the kind of
Yeah,
mentality I have going in with this, especially one some good advice that I've gotten from other creators on the show, which is kind of how I feel like it should have just been done like this anyway. When you're putting your book together, especially your first book, and you're gonna start the Kickstarter route, don't let the Kickstarter pay for the book. Have everything ready to go. Have the artwork already paid for. If anything, use the Kickstarter to raise the funds to print the book. But
right.
because sometimes having to wait, some people just don't want to wait a year after even if they just only back $20, they don't want to wait a year for a comic that they spent $20 a year ago. Have it ready to go. Have the internals, at least most of it done. Where all you really need is like one or two more steps, but have the majority of it ready to go. So
Yeah,
if it doesn't, because not every Kickstarter is gonna hit. It's not, but at least if it doesn't, you still it's not completely throwing your project off. You just got to pivot a little bit,
right.
and if you've gotten this far, you can get even further. You just got to stay on that horse and keep getting it in and keep striving. If this is what you really want to do,
Right.
because if you coming in here trying to get rich,
Yeah. That's a
yeah,
small ocean of wealthy indie people.
yeah,
You know?
that's. I mean, good luck to you. We all want to see. We want to see everyone get rich and famous and get everything we desire. But the reality behind it is, it's not an easy path.
Exactly.
It's definitely not. It's a lot, especially doing it on your own. You're not Marvel. You don't have a system behind. You don't got billions of dollars backing you. You're doing everything. You're the creator. You're the publicist. You're the web designer. You're the business manager. You're the everything. Every hat you've gotta
Yeah.
wear. That's why I have so many Yankee hats. But on that note, Jeff, I want to thank you for joining
Thank
us
you.
today. Make sure you check out his new Kickstarter. I'm gonna have the links posted in the comments and you know, making everything look nice and flashy for when I upload this on YouTube. But check it out. It's about the backing is about halfway. It's almost halfway there. Everything looks great. Got some awesome variant covers. So make sure you take a look at that and check it out. And Jeff, once again, thank you for joining us today. And I wish you a great success and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.